The Louie T Network is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be? Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to the Command Post Live. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. I, of course, am your Commander-in-Chief, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. You see the vibes. You see the vibes. You see the background. You see the get up, dressed in all black like the Omen. You know what that means. Either we took one, slam on the chin, or I'm the bearer of bad news. And this is one of those streams where it ain't got much to do about nothing. This is just me venting and getting some shit off my chest that I've been, being really, really good about and cordial about and trying to be patient with a lot of the fan base about. And it's reached its boiling point. And I think some of it may have to do with just wanting this coaching search to be over with, getting a little anxious, just want this to be done. But a lot of the shit that I saw coming before Josh Harris took over is starting to manifest itself. A lot of people giving ultimatums. I'm just not here for the shit, to be honest with you. So tonight's one of those nights where, I tell y'all this all the time. If I'm talking to you, then I'm talking to you. If I'm not talking to you, you got nothing to worry about. You got nothing to be upset about. But if I'm talking to you, log off. You don't like it, log off. Might lose a couple subscribers tonight. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Don't give a shit. That's where I'm at with mine right now. Because certain things are starting to annoy the hell out of me. And we shouldn't be at this point because this is the best situation we've had in Washington in a quarter of a century. Like I shouldn't be feeling like this right now. But I'm doing this right now because once we hire our head coach, presumably Ben Johnson, but whether it's him or Mike McDonald really doesn't matter to me. I've already told you out of my mouth several times, I'm riding with whatever Adam Peters decides to do. That's where I'm at with mine. And so many fans have uttered the same words. And a lot of you feel exactly the same way that I do, and you mean it, just like I do. But it's a lot of y'all out there that say the shit, but you really don't mean it. Which is fine too. Just keep that shit out of my face. Okay? So I want to start by saying this right here. Y'all know one of the things that irks me the most as a fan. I just want to enjoy my team finally getting shit right and having a chance to win. I just want to enjoy my shit. I've been dealing with this dysfunction damn near my entire life as a fan. Probably since I was 10. I've been dealing with this shit. Probably since I was 10. So I just want to enjoy the fact that we're actually a real functioning adult outfit for the first time in a quarter of a century. Just let me enjoy my shit. I just want to sit on my porch, sip my lemonade, sitting in my swing with a nice cool breeze. Anyway, y'all know one of the things that pissed me off the most as a fan are the fans that much rather be right than actually be wrong and have it benefit the team. I can't stand those fans the most. Okay. You want to get under my skin? You really want to see me go off? Produce that kind of fan to me and continue to be in my face with that type of bullshit. And you'll get the side of Louie T that you don't really want to see. A lot of y'all have complained to me, and I haven't listened to the Kevin Sheehan show podcast in over a year and a half. It's been a long time. And I've heard a lot of people complain to me about Tom Rivera. And I'm like, you guys are complaining about a dude that's been working with Kevin for years, and now it's a problem? You didn't see what he was 7 years ago? You're just figuring out what he is now? He's a lot like Jason Reed. I don't know if y'all know who Jason Reed is. He used to be a beat reporter here, covering a team. And a lot of these dudes built their reputation off the backs of this organization being a downtrodden, bottom-feeding organization. The worst of the worst, bottom of the barrel. They made their bones. They cut their teeth in this industry by piling on this organization. And look, I'm not upset about it. We deserved it in those days. But now that things are changing, those same people don't have the same ammunition to write the same stories anymore. So they're making up shit. The same people aren't even employed here anymore. But they still want to be able to write the same articles, spew the same garbage, push an agenda and a narrative. Because for them, that's when they were at their best. I seem to be encountering a lot of fans that, for some reason, love to be miserable. I can't understand this. I guess because I'm an optimist. And my optimism runs deep. And sometimes I see the best in a situation when it may not be there. I see the best in people when others don't. But that's just who I am. That's the type of person that I am. I always give the benefit of the doubt first before I jump to conclusions. I'm always assuming the best in people and in the best of these fans. And I know this fan base has been through a lot. So I tend to look the other way a lot of times when people say stupid shit. And again, as long as you're not addressing me, as long as you're not flooding my timeline, you're not inboxing me, you're not DMing me with bullshit, I just pass by. Again, if you ain't talking to me, then you ain't talking to me. So I'm going to just keep it pushing. I might see it and I might go, shake my head, but I'm going to keep it pushing. Like, that ain't got nothing to do with me, right? It's when it starts infiltrating my comment section, my timeline, my inbox. Now I have a problem. Now you're making it my problem. Because I don't like negativity. I try to protect my aura that's around me. I like my shit to glow, right? Like the Last Dragon. Like I want my shit to glow. It's a lot of fans that love to be miserable. I ain't naming names. I'm not here to embarrass anybody. I'm not looking to air anybody out in particular, but there's definitely some names I could name. Just negative all the damn time. And I'm just like, what benefit do you get out of being negative all the time? You know what's been hitting me of late? Fans that want to give ultimatums. I've had, and I think this was what sort of prompted me to get up here tonight. One of the things, I wouldn't say this is the only thing. One of the things that prompted me to get up here tonight. I've had at least 5 fans within the last 24 hours. Minimum 5. And I don't think it got to 10, but it's somewhere in between 5 and 10. That gave an ultimatum to the organization. If they don't do this, I'm out. So you telling me. And that shit kind of took me by surprise. And I was kind of taken aback by that approach, because you sat through the worst era of Washington football. Peep game. We lost our identity, which I think a lot of people are still struggling with. I think a lot of the fans that are very negative and have nothing positive to say and are giving ultimatums, they still haven't gotten over the fact that our name is no longer Redskins. It's a lot of people that at this point, I'm like, just go find another team to root for. Go be a Ravens fan. They winning up I-95. Go join the Ravens flock. I'm not going to judge you. Go be a Packers fan. Go be a Chiefs fan. Go be a front runner. I'm not going to judge you. Go. I've had people over the last 24 hours say, if this team doesn't fill in the blank, and I'll give you an example. I had a fan tell me, if this team brings back Sam Howell as their starting quarterback, I'm out. And I really just wanted to tell him, okay, deuces, right? It's not, I don't think it's going to happen, but you can't say out of one side of your mouth, I'm going to support whatever decision this group comes in and decides to make. And then out of the other side of your mouth, get mad at the first decision that they decide to make and say, you know what, I'm out. If that's the case, then just carry your ass. Just go. Ain't nobody going to stop you. Go. If this team drafts Drake May, I'm out. Bye. Go. Leave. If this team doesn't trade up to number 1, as if they have the power, the authority to do so, as if they control anything. If they don't get Caleb Williams, I'm done. Bye. Like, what is an ultimatum supposed to do? Right? Like, I've been given ultimatums as a content creator before. You're going to stop watching my content. Okay. It's at that time, you know, when somebody said that to me, I had 10,000 subscribers. I was like, okay, it's still 10,000 other people that's going to watch. You can leave. You can go. You're not hurting my feelings. If that's how you feel about the organization, you can go. But here's my thing. You sat through the worst part of this organization's history. We lost our identity and our nickname, Redskins. We had the worst owner in sports for 24 years. We have not won a playoff game since 2005. We have not won more than 10 games since 1991, which coincidentally enough is the last time that we went to the NFC Championship game. There's been nothing good for this franchise over the last 30 years. Nothing good was started for this franchise. There's some things that bled over from Gibbs 1.0, like Darryl Green and guys like that. But there's nothing that we built organically here in Washington. There isn't one guy in the last 30 years that has gone into the Hall of Fame as a Washington fill in the blank. Redskin, Commander, football team, anything. Nothing. And we don't have another guy anytime soon. And the guys that we're vouching for, them Gibbs guys, those Gibbs 1.0 guys, like Joe Jacoby, who should be in the Hall of Fame. Them ain't new dudes. We haven't produced anybody worth a damn in the last decade plus. And the ones that we do produce, we run them off, like Trent Williams. Anything good that happens is muzzled, like Sean Taylor or Jordan Reed. We haven't had nice things. We haven't deserved nice things. As fans, we've done nothing wrong, but it's the team we root for, and it is what it is. So you telling me you went through all of that shit with this organization. You finally get rid of the sieve, of the dark cloud that is Dan Snyder. We get new ownership, a new lease on life, fresh air as a fan base, a GM that we feel very confident and strongly in his abilities to come in here and help turn this thing around. And whatever coach we get, and to me, it's a two-man race, just like it was for the GM position. GM, they narrowed that search down to two guys, Adam Peters, Ian Cunningham. Remember, I was an Ian Cunningham guy. Remember, I kept saying Ian Cunningham. I didn't think we were getting Adam Peters. I was all in on Ian Cunningham. Guess what? They went with Adam Peters. I am perfectly fine with that. Love Adam Peters. Excited and ecstatic that we got him. On to the next thing. Head coach. I'm all in on Ben Johnson. Y'all know that. Guess what? If they go with Mike McDonald, I'm going to be happy about that too. Not going to be as thrilled as I would getting Ben Johnson, but again, I'm going to ride with whatever they decide to do. Somebody said to me, if they hire Dan Quinn, which they're not going to do, but if they hire Dan Quinn, I'm out. Okay. Like, you can't say that I'm all in and whatever they do, I'm a ride. And then the first time they do something you don't like, you're out. I remember telling y'all the thing that was going to piss me off, and I knew this was going to happen because I know me and I know people. I study people. And I said, I'm telling you right now, we're such a fractured fan base. And so many of our fans just want to be miserable. They've been miserable for so long, they don't know any other emotion but misery. So anything that touches this organization, they want it to fail. Unless they preordained it, unless they predicted it, in that case, then it needs to be right. But a lot of times they predict failure and then they root for it so that they can say they were right. I've never seen anything like it. I, myself, have all of these things that I think the organization should do. But if they don't do them, it is what it is. A lot of fans feel like they should do this, they should do that, they could do this, this will help. But guess what? We're fans. That's what we do. Right? I saw this coming miles away when, before Josh Harris took over, I said, I see this fan base not giving this man a chance to do the things that he needs to do because they want instant success. They want instant gratification. And patience is a virtue. And when things aren't going well, sometimes the best thing you can do is nothing. Just stand still. Right? Just stand still. Everybody wants to be moving 1,000,000 miles per second. They want to be doing something at all times. Just stand still. This season, when Ronald Rivera was absolutely ass, and we knew what was going to happen. People wanted him fired. I'm glad they didn't fire him. Even though I hated how the season ended, especially for Sam, there was no point in firing him. We still haven't hired a head coach. What difference was it going to make? I told you the only thing that was going to be beneficial to this team was starting the process of figuring out who the next general manager was going to be. And clearly, they had already been working on that prior to the season ending. Clearly, they were working on that behind the scenes. That's why the process moved so quickly. That's all I wanted, because theoretically, that was the only thing that could happen. Everything else you would have been doing just to appease a fan base that was out for blood, and it wasn't going to make a difference anyway. We weren't going to win any games. You weren't going to make any difference. And we didn't need to win any games anyway, right? That was going against what was best for the team anyhow. I said that fans aren't going to be patient with Josh Harris. They're going to demand a name change. They're going to demand uniform changes. These are all things that most of us would like. The name Commanders doesn't move me. I don't care about the name. I've told you that already. The only name I ever gave a damn about was Redskins. Once you took that away, just as long as you don't embarrass me, you don't name us something that's ridiculous. And I said, they're not going to do that. I'm fine with whatever the name is. If they would have named us the football team and kept it that way, if they would have named us football club, which I hate and a lot of people loved, this is not soccer. No, I don't want to be a football club, but whatever. I don't care. At the end of the day, I just want to win. That's what I care about. If we stay Commanders forever, fine. We're the Commanders. I'm used to saying Commanders now, so it doesn't really make me one bit of difference. Could they go back to the classic look for the uniforms? Sure. I didn't think they really needed to do anything with the uniforms. We didn't need a rebrand from a uniform standpoint. They could have left the uniforms pretty much as is, changed from Redskins on the front. They changed it to Washington. They could have left that alone. They didn't need to do anything with that. But they wanted a full rebrand. They wanted everything to look different. Fine. Whatever. At the end of the day, I don't really care about all of that stuff. But I knew there were going to be fans that did, and I can't blame them for that. People have an attachment to the name, to the look, all of that stuff. I personally care more about the look at this point. If I had it my way, I'd prefer them to go back to the way that the uniforms looked prior to the rebrand. When they went to football team and they changed the uniforms and the helmet, that was fine. They could have left that alone. They didn't need to do anything else. But at the end of the day, I knew fans were going to be upset about the name, upset about the uniforms and the look and all of that. And they were going to be impatient. And that was the thing I was most concerned about. And I don't know how this is going to go, but you already got fans complaining before we even make the first real hire of this organization's new future, right? Their new status. We haven't even hired a head coach yet, and people are already complaining. I don't expect us as a fan base to agree on who they should hire, who the next quarterback should be, or any of that stuff. We can't agree on almost anything. That's fine. Most fan bases, we're not alone in that. Most fan bases can't agree on anything. at least we should all be here for the same common goal, and that's to win. And I don't feel like everyone is all in on this team winning. That's the part that bothers me. Some of y'all are in here and you double agents. You say you want to win, but secretly you want this team to fail, and so you can say, I told you so. I'm looking at some of the comments regarding Ben Johnson, and look, you don't have to want Ben Johnson as the next head coach. I did the video this morning, and I really wanted your opinion. How do you feel about Ben Johnson? How do you feel about Mike Macdonald? If you think Macdonald is the better candidate, if you think they should go in, tell me. I want to hear it. I want to know what your rationale is. I'm interested. My mind is open. I want Ben Johnson, but as I've told you before, whatever they decide to do, I'm rolling with it. I mean, what choice do I have anyway, right? If I'm a fan of this team and they make a decision, what choice do I have anyway? You know, some of the responses I got, one of the responses was something to the effect of, you know, with Ben Johnson, he really can't run the ball, and he doesn't run the ball. He passes the football, and then he has success when he runs after he throws the football. What? That's your excuse? So we're making up shit now. That's what we're doing. Like, if you don't like Ben Johnson as the next head coach of this, just say so. I respect that more than somebody basically saying, I don't like her because she thinks she's cute. What the fuck is that? What am I supposed to think? I'm ugly? What is she supposed to think? She's ugly? You don't like her because she thinks she's cute? What? I don't like Ben Johnson because he has to pass the ball to run? What are you talking about? They had 4 dudes over 40 yards rushing in the game yesterday. One guy had 42 yards on 1 carry for a touchdown. Another player had 15 carries for 93 yards. And another player had 12 carries for 45 yards. What are you talking about? They ran it 29 times for over 180 yards. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? The first 8 out of 15 plays were runs. The first 3 out of 4 plays, including the 42-yard touchdown, was a run. They got a pass to run? Even if that were true, who cares? Ben Johnson runs the football, though. Like, don't make shit up. Like, I mean, this shit is comical. If you don't like him, just say you don't like him. I'll respect that more than just making up shit. If they go with Mike Macdonald, guess what? I'm going to be cool either way. I think that guy has really good NFL coach written all over him as well. I'm not tripping either way. We'll see what they decide to do. It's Ben Johnson. I think it's going to be Ben Johnson. I haven't wavered on that. Adam Schefter had something to say on Pat McAfee's show today, and that caused quite a media stir. I got at least 12 people sending me that clip. And you know what I say to that? And you know, I love this shit. I actually really enjoyed the fact that Adam Schefter said what he said, because you know what that says to me? And John Keim has been telling us this for the last month or so. John Keim has been very upfront about, hey, bro, they ain't giving us shit. Ain't nothing coming out of that building that they don't want coming out of that building. They as tight-lipped as they've ever been. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. We've never been tight-lipped. There's always been leaks. Always been leaks. Somebody was always willing to give it up. We don't have any more snakes in the organization no more. We don't got no more people out here for self. So you know what I heard? Adam Schefter is saying all of this shit, and he's like, I'll tell you right now. Everybody thinks Ben Johnson's going to Washington, and, you know, it's a foregone conclusion. Look, it may not be a foregone conclusion. Whether it is or it isn't remains to be seen. I think, like I told you, it's a two-man race, if you ask me. Yeah, they're doing their due diligence. They're supposed to do their due diligence. I would be disappointed if they didn't. I would be disappointed if they didn't do their due diligence. But what I heard from Adam Schefter today was further confirmation. He don't know what the hell is going on. That's what I heard. I didn't hear that Ben Johnson might not be the coach here in Washington. I heard, hey, I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't have any more sources in that building, and they not feeding me no more information. So I can't tell you if they're going in that direction or not. That's what I heard. I ain't got shit. I'm glad you don't have shit. That means they doing something right over there, where the insiders got to guess. It ain't no more Ron Rivera coming off to the side and talking to you. Hey, you scratch my back, I'm going to scratch yours. That shit is over with. We keeping all of our shit in-house. First time in 25 years, we keeping shit in-house. Ain't no leaks to the New York Times. Ain't no leaks to the Washington Post. All of this shit is where it's supposed to be, in the damn building. Schefter don't know what the hell's happening. Ian Rappaport don't know what the hell is going on. Good. Keep it that way. I don't know what direction they're going to go in, but I'm going to support it either way. I don't know who they're going to pick for quarterback. Like, I saw a comment, and this was a good comment from, like, King of the North. And he had a, I'm going to read it because I was going to paraphrase it. It's too much to paraphrase, right? But this was the type of shit I was looking for. Like, if you got a reason, I want to hear it, right? So, King of the North, this is what he wrote in the comment section. Let me see if I can track it down. He says, let me explain why Detroit's offensive dominance last night didn't get me all fired up like other Commanders fans. Who's to say any of this translates here? That's a super talented roster that has been built right over the past few years by a talented GM, Brad Holmes. They have a veteran quarterback with lots of playoff experience in Jared Goff. They have an energetic head coach who has his team completely bought in, a head coach who did a great job of hiring, motivating, and managing dozens of coaching assistants and position coaches. We will just be getting a very small piece of that pie. It's like taking parts off of a high-powered sports car and putting them onto your sedan. A few parts, no matter how critical they are, don't make your sedan a hot rod unless you completely rebuild the rest of the car with premium parts too. Only when the whole car has been rebuilt for speed will the parts you took off that sports car be able to function at maximum capacity. There's nothing wrong with what he said, but here's the part about that comment that bothers me a bit. So are you not going to take the parts? because you don't have all of the parts that you need now, are you not going to take the parts just in case in a future later date and time you have rebuilt the car and now those parts come into handy? You're not going to take the parts? I told anybody that would listen, and I've been preaching this message and it's been consistent since day one. This is not an overnight fix, as much as a lot of you would like it to be. When Adam Peters was brought here in his introductory press conference and asked about the state of this roster, he hesitated. It took him about 5 to 6 seconds to answer the question before he said, yeah, it's some stuff here, but this roster needs a lot of work. Some foundational pieces here, but this roster needs a lot of work. And it does. When Dan Campbell got to Detroit, when Brad Holmes got to Detroit, was there not a lot of work to do? Were they not a bad football team? Were they not a bad football team the first 2 years? They started 0-10 in Campbell's first year, and they started 1-6 in his second year. They finished in his first year 3-13-1. And they finished 9-8 after starting 1-6. It took time for that message of grit and determination to sink in, to resonate, and to get them turned around in the right direction. But you know what they had? Buy-in, belief, and patience. Not just from the coaches, not just from the players, but from the fans as well. Let whomever they hire come here and start 0-10. I guarantee you, the same idiots that were out here talking this and that about, oh, yeah, you know, this, that, and the third, or, yeah, I rock with it, whatever. I guarantee you they're going to be the first ones ready to say, fire this man. That's the kind of fan base we got. Y'all already know. Start 0-4. To hell with 0-10. This fan base could never handle 0-10. Start 0-3. Watch how many people flip and switch up. Start 4-19. 4-19-1 was Dan Campbell's record after his first 24 games as Lions head coach. 4-19-1. Let somebody come in here. Don't matter who the hell he is. Ben Johnson, Mike McDonald, don't matter. Old McDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Don't matter who the hell he is. Let him come in here and start 4-19-1 and see what the hell this fan base tries to do to him. That comment right there from King of the North, that sounds like somebody saying, and I've heard fans say this in this fan base, we don't need to draft a quarterback because we don't have an offensive line. Well, guess what? You can get an offensive line. You think the only way to get an offensive line is to draft a tackle at number 2 overall? You think that's going to fix the entire offensive line? Look, I'm not telling you that they got to draft a quarterback. Ben Johnson could come in here and say, no. I can work with Sam Howell. I can fix him. And he might say, nah, I'm good. Let's trade back with New England. Let them come up to 2 and get whoever they want. We'll pick up some more picks. Let's build this offensive line up. Let's get all the pieces that we need. And let's try to do this thing with what we got right here. I like Sam Howell. He could come in here and say that. If, in fact, he's the next head coach of the Washington Commanders, which I expect him to be. What's stopping him from saying that? At the end of the day, you don't stop taking a quarterback because you failed at taking a quarterback. Just like you don't stop taking second-round picks because we failed at second-round picks. You don't just quit. And you don't leave a talented coach out there stranded because we don't have the parts that the team he's coming from has. That's, to me, poor logic. because the Lions didn't have what they have now 3 years ago, which is going back to my original point of this isn't a quick fix. And for those of you looking for a quick fix, every day that I scroll on social media, I see people comparing this to Detroit and Houston and all the teams that had success this year. People pointing to the Lions draft from this past year and saying, hey, don't tell me you can't turn an organization around in one season. I'm looking at that post and I'm like, you idiot. You don't get it. You ever seen the episode of Martin? I think it's called Guard Your Grill, where he challenges Tommy Hearns to a fight, the brawl for it all, right? Raw Dog has spoken, right? And the first fight Martin has is a Raw Dog. I can do work with these like Hercules, right? It's a charity boxing event against a fellow DJ. And Martin hits him with a nice little 2-3 piece, knocks him down and knocks him out, wins the fight in like 40 seconds, right? 30 seconds. And the dude gets up, he's got a little bit of blood, and he takes his gloves off and he throws them, right? And he says, you don't get it. You just don't get it. And he storms out of the ring. That's how I feel about fans of this team. You don't get it. You just don't get it. This is not a quick fix. No, we're not the Detroit Lions. We're not the Houston Texans. Again, the Texans were building what they built for 3 years, and then they got the right coach and the right quarterback, and they took off. The Lions were building what they were building for 3 years, and then they got all of these draft picks. Everything fell into place, and we saw them coming last year. At the end of the season, we saw this coming. We don't know if our GM is going to hit home runs, if he's going to pick really good players over and over again and build this roster. But that's what we got to assume is going to be done. That's what we got to trust in the process is going to be done. We've been down for so long, and we've been down bad for so long that we don't even understand what good football is supposed to look like, how an organization is supposed to be built. There's still a lot of you that want to go out and spend all of this money. Boy, you could tell a lot of y'all ain't had money before because y'all want to go out and y'all want to spend this bread. So what I'm telling you is, if we're drafting a rookie quarterback, you think that rookie going to come in here and we going to win 13 games, be the number 2 seed, and be ready to win a Super Bowl right away? If your answer is yes, then I go back to my Martin analogy. You don't get it. You just don't get it. If you think getting Mike Evans and Josh Allen and Brian Burns, if you think spending that kind of money is the right move, I don't know what to tell you. Because you got to look at the timeline. Like, Burns probably fits in that timeline, but are you willing to spend that kind of money on a dude, and his best football might come while we still trying to build this thing up? Like, if we were on the precipice of doing something, then you could go spend that kind of money on a Brian Burns or a Josh Allen to put you over the top. But when you trying to build it, that ain't the kind of move you need to be making. I'm not telling you don't spend any of your money. I'm not telling you not to go out and get good football players. But the ones at the top of the market, that ain't where you should be shopping. Not when you looking at a 2-3 year rebuild just to get back to where you can be respectable. There's certain guys that you point at and you look at and you say, hey, that dude right there, that's the kind of guy that I think can be with this organization for the next 6 years. Sign him to that 5-year, $75 million deal. Sign him. He's a dog. There'll be a few of those, maybe. But for the most part, Ben Johnson, I'm not expecting him to come in here and work a miracle. There are parts that we need that in order for us to have our offense look like the one he ran in Detroit, we're going to have to go out and get some things, including the offensive line. A lot of what he's able to do is because they've got an outstanding offensive line that they've built from the ground up. Taylor Decker is a first-round pick. Penei Sewell is a first-round pick, a top 10 pick, probably top 5 pick, top 7 pick, something like that. Definitely top 10. Jonah Jackson is a draft pick, I think in the first 2-3 rounds, day 1 or 2. Probably day 2 pick. Frank Ragnow is a day 2 pick. I think he's a 3rd-round pick at the center position. Like, they've spent resources on that offensive line. Right? That's why it's so good. So you got to hit. You got to know what you're looking for. You got to know what you're going after. And then to King of the North's point, you got to hire really good coaches. That was one of the things that I don't think we really did a good job of. Rivera just brought all of his cronies from Carolina for the most part. Had to fire a couple of them, like Sam Mills III. He just brought the whole crew over and gave everybody the same job they had in Carolina, like they won't effing up in Carolina before they got here. You got to hire the right dudes, the right teachers, the right coaches. That shit matters too. But at the end of the day, I've been talking about P&P. Patience and perseverance. That's what it's going to take from this fan base. And if you don't have that, and there's a lot of fans, when I say that, I've been patient for 30 years. Well, it ain't going to kill you to be patient for 31, 2, or 3. Now is it? You've been waiting this damn long. It ain't going to kill you to wait another year. For some of you, it may. I don't know. You might be 87 years old. Another year might not be something that's, in the future for you. I don't know. I can't say. But for most of us, 1 more year, 2 more years, that's the cost of doing business for what we're trying to be. We'll see what happens, man. But if you're a fake ass fan, stay the hell out my goddamn face. Do me a favor. Please stay the hell out of my damn face. Because I'm over here minding my business, happy as I could be right now. I'm on cloud 9, man. Okay. This is as good as it's been in 25 years. Understand what I'm saying to you. Like, leave me alone. I feel like Plies right now. Leave me alone. I'm happy. You mad. You big mad. I don't got time to argue with you. No. If that's the type of energy you on, if that's the type of time you on, go that away, right? Go that away. Because I'm happy over here, man. You can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. We finna build this shit up. We about to turn this thing into a real mother effing powerhouse. That shit takes time. But I'm convinced one good decision begets another good decision, begets another good decision, and you keep stacking those good decisions on top of each other. And next thing you know, you got this beautiful ass successful mansion that you living in, and you done turned into the Kansas City Chiefs, or you done turned into the damn 49ers. They ain't won shit yet. I'll acknowledge that. But they in the damn NFC Championship game almost every damn year. They doing something right. Well, we got the damn GM, the assistant GM that was a part of the architectural structure of the bully that got built in San Francisco. He's here in Washington now. I'm excited about that. I can't speak for anybody else. Let's just see what happens. That's my biggest thing. Let's just see what happens. Give it time. Let it play out. Whatever they decide to do, try something different. Try something new. Just support. I know that's a foreign concept to some of y'all. Just support. Don't be hypercritical. Don't be in your feelings because they didn't do what you thought they should have done. Just support. You know how many people are having revisionist history right now? We should have drafted Kyle Hamilton. For what? Would we have used Kyle Hamilton the way the Ravens are using him? Would Jack Del Rio have used Kyle Hamilton in the manner he's being utilized right now? Yes or no? Yes or no? It's amazing how people love to play those games. It's those same people that's bitching about not drafting Kyle Hamilton. They're the same ones that just 8 months ago was posting the trade that we made to get Jahan, Sam, B-Rob, and Cole Turner and saying, this is the foundational trade right here. They the same ones. Come on, bro. What we doing, man? You can't have it both ways. Either you with us or you against us. It ain't no middle ground, ain't no gray area. This shit is burgundy and it's gold. Which side you on? You either with us or you against us. It ain't no middle. If you're a part of the fam, if you riding, get in, man. Get in. But as soon as something go wrong, don't ask to get out. If you get out, don't get back in. It's too many wafflers. There's too many people that complain that's ready to jump ship at the first sign of trouble. Y'all got to give this shit some time, man. I'm doing this now because once Ben Johnson gets here, oh, I'm on cloud nine. I'm all the way up, and I ain't turning back, and I ain't looking back, and I ain't reaching back and grabbing no damn body. I ain't doing this because I'm going to be excited. I'm going to be too damn happy to be worrying about anybody being miserable. So I'm doing this right now because I know in the next 48 hours or so, we're going to have our new head coach, and then the process really begins. That's when the real fun begins. Then we start filling out his staff. And then we start turning our attention to the draft and free agency and all that good stuff. That's when the real fun begins. He's got this last domino to fall right now. And then we hitting the ground running. We got work to do. Anyway, I digress. I'm about to get out of here. I ain't want to talk y'all to death. I wasn't even supposed to be doing this stream. I really wasn't even supposed to be doing this stream, but I was in my feelings. I ain't gonna lie. I was in my feelings. So many people hit me up talking bullshit and talking reckless and making threats. I feel like how I used to make threats at Sprint back in the day when I was a broke dude. Hey, man, if y'all don't give me this extension, I'm going to T-Mobile. And they used to laugh at my dumb ass. I'm going to Verizon. You can't even afford our rates. You going to Verizon? Man, shut up and pay us our damn money. Same fans crying they out. Be the same ones right back in after a 2-3 game win streak. Man, sit down and shut your dumb ass up. Feel like Martin. Cole, sit your $5 ass down before I make change. Sit down and shut up. Anthony P. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat rights. It occurred to me this week that going to the home games is now back in play for me. I live in New York City, so it's not easy. Can't wait for next season. You know, that's one of the things that I think eventually we'll see start to happen. Like, I've seen clips online of some big games, you know, big for what we've experienced here in Washington over the last 20 years, you know, the Snyder era. The 2012 game, the playoff game against the Packers in 2015. There have been some good games where there's been some quality turnout, but if you want that back, if you want, and again, I don't know if it'll ever quite be that way again, because that was the Redskins. You know, winning is a hell of a drug. Winning is a hell of a drug. And if you win big enough, this is a fan base that is dying to come back. There's a lot of people out there that swore they would never be back unless Snyder was gone. He's gone and they ain't come back because we still suck ass. You win and you'll get a lot of those fans back. And I can tell you this much. The good teams in this league have a home field advantage. You can't be 3-5 at home and expect to win anything of note. You can't be 1-7 at home. We were worse at home than we were on the road because playing at home was like playing a road game. You expect the road environment to be tough. So you go there with the mentality of it's us against the world. We played better in those situations this year. Why? Because we went on the road expecting to have to go out there and take it from them and their fans. When you at home, you expect the crowd to be on your side. You don't expect to have a road mentality at the crib. But that's how these players have to be wired right now. Because it's not an advantage at home. You're at a disadvantage. There are more of them than there are of us at our own building. They hear the opposing team's fans more than they hear our fans. I don't complain about the home field advantage because unless I'm doing my part, I was most vocal 2 years ago because I was handing out tickets to home games, every single home game. So I could be critical. I'm putting Commanders' butts in seats so I can say whatever the hell I want to say. But if I'm not doing that, if I'm not doing my part, then I got to keep quiet. You don't get to say so. You're not at the games. And you're not putting 2 more Commanders fans in seats at the game to make noise for the good guys. So you don't get to say anything. But that's a part of the process. And again, that might not come back until we actually start winning. I can't blame anybody for not wanting to invest in a losing product. It was bad last year. And I get it. It was Rivera. Those dudes were cooked, man. Those dudes were dead man walking. So I get it. But week 1 against Arizona, that crowd was amped. They wanted it. Hopefully you get to go to a game and you are able to go in, take care of business, and come out successfully with the mission. You know what it is. Tony Barefoot. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. who writes, Lou, I can't stand more with you on this subject. If all you're going to do is complain, hit the damn bricks. See ya. I'm freaking tired of that, hearing that shit. Me too, man. Like I've put up with it for a very long time. You know, a lot of fans come to me to vent, and I'm usually pretty cool about taking on everybody's, you know, fandom issues, so to speak. You know, and I don't mind, right? I mean, hell, I talk about this all the time, and a lot of y'all say this to me, like after these games or during the off season or what. These are therapy sessions sometimes. And I'm telling y'all, it is for me too. Just like it is for you, it is for me too. I used to walk around before the Louie T Network was established. I used to walk around miserable for 48 to 72 hours after a Redskins loss. That used to be my mode of operation. I'm a sore loser. I've gotten better at it. Unfortunately, I've gotten better at it as a fan. Like, still, I'm hyper competitive. When I lose something that I have control over, I'm a sore ass loser. Now, it's not to the point where I'm trying to fight or anything like that, but I hate losing. Period. That's not in my DNA. That's not how I'm wired. So this shit kills me watching rooting for a team that sucks ass and is the doormat of their division and really their conference. That shit kills me. I'm like, really like, bro, can we not do better than this shit? Well, here's our opportunity. We finally got a chance. And if you're not on board, if you sat through all of that shit that we went through for a quarter of a century, and you choosing to bail now, or you threatening to bail now, go then. I'm not even looking to stop you, because there were times where you would have been validated. You would have been in the right for wanting to bail and leaving. And I would have told you, you know what? For your sanity, leave. It's probably the right thing to do, because it ain't getting no better no time soon, man. Just go ahead and go. I get it. And we'll be here when you come back. That's not my energy no more right now. It's not. It really ain't. That ain't my energy right now, because this is the best it's been. And there's fans out there that are like, hey, you know, I think with Ben Johnson, and I'm guilty of this. I'm guilty of this. Same with Adam Peters. I'm guilty of this. Guilty as charged. And I'm not apologizing for it. I'm non-apologetic for being over-the-top optimistic on what these guys are going to do here because of what they've done with their last outfit. I'm extrapolating that shit over to Washington. You damn right I am. And I'm unapologetic for it. I think Adam Peters is going to come here and he's going to build a winner. I think Ben Johnson is going to come here and he's going to turn this offense into a juggernaut. Yeah, I do. And I think some of you are like, bro, we still Washington. And until they change that, until they start winning, where's all of this optimism coming from? That's just who I am. And I get that take. I'm not mad at you for that. The ones that say, what are you talking about? We ain't won nothing since 1991, bro. You want me to think that this guy and this guy is going to change something? Yeah, right. Until they do it, don't talk to me. I got you. I'm not mad at you for that. You have, as a fan of this organization, you have a right to be skeptical. There's a difference between being skeptical and just being downright negative to the point where it's toxic. There's a difference. That's why I draw the damn line. Keep your toxicity away from me. Skepticism is fine. As a matter of fact, don't be like me, be better than me. Okay? I tell the youth of America this all the time. Don't be like me, be better than me. Don't be like me. I'm telling y'all, don't be like me, be better than me. Be skeptical. That's probably the safest way to operate. I'm just telling you that I'm not choosing to be skeptical because these guys have a track record of getting it done. So I'm going to assume that they're going to bring their experience, all the things that they've learned here to Washington, and it's going to lead us to where we ultimately want to go. Somebody's got to do it. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch did it in San Francisco. Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes did it in Detroit. Why can't Adam Peters and Ben Johnson or Mike McDonald do it here in Washington? I don't know. You tell me why they can't do it. I've given you all the reasons why I think they can do it. You tell me why they can't. Because it's Washington? Okay. AJ Meehan, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, don't allow these negative people to affect you. Negative people enjoy seeing happy people go down to their level. It's sports, man. It's never that serious. Hire Ben, trust the front office, win, HTTC. Trust me, they're not affecting me that much to where it affects my personal life. I'll never let that happen. I'm a great compartmentalizer, okay? I leave this shit, like I said, I wasn't once upon a time. That shit would linger and it would fester into my personal life. I would treat people like shit because I was miserable because my team was losing. That's what this is for. I leave, just like you leave all of your bullshit at work when you leave work. This is my job. I enjoy my job a lot. So it's not like everybody else's job unless you really, truly enjoy your job, your 9 to 5. This is my 9 to 5. And when I'm done with it, I put it down and I walk away. When I go play with my kids, I'm not thinking about what some idiot said on X or what somebody said on IG. I give 2 shits about that. So trust me, it's not affecting me that much. But it did affect me enough to where I felt like I needed to come and address it here on this. Because again, once we move forward, I'm not looking back. Y'all just know where I stand. So if I pop off on you, you can't say that you weren't warned and you didn't know, right? Because that's where I'm at with mine right now. You roll up on me with some bullshit and you might just get snapped off on. And I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but if you catch me at the wrong moment, it could. And you've seen me after a loss, after a tough loss, and somebody say something stupid and I just dismiss their ass and say some crazy shit and keep it pushing. So you know it's not out of the realm of possibility. I'm just letting everybody know where I'm at with mine right now. JLG, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, I thought with Dan Quinn's ties to the DMV, he would be the front runner for head coach. He went to school in Maryland. That ain't got a damn thing to do with nothing, JLG. This ain't college. This ain't a popularity contest. And don't nobody give a damn what your ties are to the area. Okay? It'd be one thing if Dan Quinn was this hot commodity that was, you know, I mean, he was piping hot last year. He probably could have called his shot. There was some trash ass jobs available though last year, which is why he stuck with Dallas. So it was a lot of enticing jobs available this year. And he was like, yo, let me get one of them joints. And then you went out and gave up 8 million points to Green Bay and everybody was looking at you like, yeah, I don't know if you're the right fit for what we're looking for right now, man. Tell you what, come back in about 2-3 years from now and we'll see. We'll reassess the situation, see where we at, see where you at, right? He might have missed his window. That's on him. He thought his shit was sweet. He thought that he could do no wrong and that whenever I'm ready, a job will just be sitting there waiting for me. And I was like, bro, go to Jacksonville. He could have had that job. They wanted him. Go to Jacksonville. You got you a young quarterback. You got a talented defense. Go to Jacksonville. And he was like, nah, I'm good. Okay. Now you got nothing. You might have to take your monkey ass back to Dallas. We'll see. He might end up here in Washington as a D coordinator if Dallas don't want him. But I'm assuming if he doesn't get a head coaching job, Dallas wants him back as their defensive coordinator. I think they're just going to run it back. That's what I see happening, but you never know. They want the best man for the job. They don't give a damn where you're from. That matters to the candidate, right? That might matter to the candidate. That might be the difference between if Dan Quinn had his choice of Seattle, Washington, or Chicago. That might be the difference between those three places if they all wanted him. Oh, I went to school in Maryland. I got ties to the DMV area. I want to go back there, right? I got family there. I got friends there. That might make the decision easier for him, but the organization don't give a damn about that. They don't care about where you grew up at. Just Andre, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, it's crazy how after 1 year, people think this offense has little talent. Jahan can really be good wide receiver. Rodgers at tight end, the EB effect. It's amazing. I agree with you 110%. Think about it. I said this before, right? This time last year, when we were waiting on EB's ass, because they were going to the Super Bowl, we didn't hire him until February 18th last year, right? Think about how crazy and reckless we were talking last year about this offense, about Terry, about Jahan, about Curtis, about hell, even about Diami, right? Diami was working hard. He had his YouTube channel. People were like, yo, Diami might have a breakout year this year. That's how crazy we were talking. Oh my God, Antonio Gibson's about to eat. Brian Robinson, what? Yo, this offense is about to be crazy. Fast forward 1 year later, and now Jahan's a bust. Should have drafted. Hamilton should have never made the trade. Like, people kill me, man. I mean, I don't know, man. Look, you can think Jahan ain't all that great, but to think he's trash at this point? I mean, there have been people advocating for this man to not even be on the roster. Like, what are we doing here, people? What are we doing here, folks? Like, seriously, make it make sense. If you think, and there's still people out here caping for Eric Bieniemy. I don't know how at this point. You know, somebody yesterday, I'm here for all the smoke too. Like, if you come at me with some stupid ass comment, I used to just let that shit slide. Like, I'm in the season of airing people out right now. Like, if you say some nonsensical shit, like, we can have a real, honest discussion and disagree with each other and agree to disagree, and that's that, right? I do it all the time with the people that DM me, and we have conversations. Me and Derek B, we go back and forth all the time. All the time. I think we probably disagree with each other more than we agree with each other. But he never comes at me with some BS. It always makes sense, and I can see the perspective that he's coming from. I don't agree with it, but I get it. But when people just start making up shit, somebody yesterday said, and he wasn't being disrespectful, and this is the thing I want y'all to understand. First of all, I'm a fan just like you. All right? I'm a fan just like you. Okay? So, like, I'm no celebrity or nothing. Like, you don't have to apologize to me. I hate when people apologize to me, thinking that they've made me upset with something they've said. Okay? If we just talking ball and we disagreeing, you don't have to apologize to me. I'm not getting upset. That's part of why when you talk to people via, social media or, via text, it's hard to really read what emotions are being conveyed in that text. And so people think, oh my God, did I offend you? I'm sorry you're not offending me, bro. I have thick skin. I've been called all kinds of names doing what I do. Trust me. There isn't anything that you can really say to me that's going to hurt my feelings. I might feel some type of way, but at the end of the day, I've been called just about everything. Anything that your imagination is allowed to run with, I've probably been called that at least once. So just keep in mind, we're fans. We're all fans. I'm a fan too. With that said, somebody the other day, yesterday, said maybe it was Sam and it wasn't EB. Jacoby cooked in this offense. I watched the Chiefs offense. It's the same offense we're running here. We were running here in Washington with Eric Bieniemy. I went, what? Say that again? It was the same offense? Theoretically speaking, yes. The concepts are the same for the most part. And, you know, the philosophical approach is the same. It's 3rd and 1, we throwing a football. It's 3rd and 2, we throwing a football. How different is it with Ben Johnson? It's 3rd and some of this has to do with the fact that Ben Johnson is probably in the mindset of, once I cross midfield, I got 4 downs. So I can run on 3rd and 4. I can run on 3rd and 2. I can run on 3rd and 1 because I'm going to get another shot anyway, right? It's a little different when you know you got an extra down. However, I also saw Ben Johnson run on 3rd and 8 and get a first down, or 3rd and 11 and get a first down as well, right? And he wasn't going for it if they would have gotten 4 yards, okay? So Ben Johnson is out here running the rock. But anyway, I digress. We're not talking about Ben Johnson right now. We're talking about the Chiefs offense. And this person proceeded to say this offense looked just like the one that we watched with Eric Bieniemy, and maybe it was just Sam Howell. And I went, he said, and he said it was some truths in there. You know how it's like 2 truths and a lie? It was 2 lies and a truth in this comment. So it was like you had to parse through all the garbage to get to the gym. So he was like, yeah, you know, Mahomes makes some plays and he gets to the check downs quicker and, you know, that sort of thing. And he's right about that. Sam, you know, he struggled with getting the ball to the check downs. One of the things that Kirk Cousins has done well throughout his career is he goes through his progressions quickly and he gets to the check down in a timely manner where that check down can get you 8 yards. And if you come to it too late, that check down is only going to get you 2 or 3 yards. You get to that check down in the timing and rhythm of the down, get you 8, 9, 10 yards, depending on how quickly you get it to him and how accurately you get it to him, right? Mahomes is a master at that. He had to grow into that because early in his career, he was bombing it deep. Then teams started playing that too high shell, and he had to learn how to check the bitch down. But he's gotten the hang of it. But I laugh because I'm like, did you not watch the beginning of that game? Andy Reid came out in the first 15. Oh my, wow. The first 15 was just so beautifully scripted. He knew what he was getting himself into. He knew they were going to get pressure. How do you diffuse pressure? Quick game, screens. Get it out of Mahomes. Mahomes started the game like 12 or 12. Nothing past probably 6, 7 yards down the field. Everything was short. Quick screens galore. The first 3 passes were quick screens. Name one game this season where you saw EB start a game with 3 consecutive quick screens to start the game. Name me one game. You probably can't find one game where he threw 3 screens in the damn game, other than Denver in week 2. You probably can't find me another game. So don't tell me this offense is the same, because it ain't. Because Mahomes has answers against the blitz. They're not running 4 verts against all-out pressure, okay? And if you do that, Mahomes, like the end of the game, when Baltimore brought pressure, what did he do? Up top to MVS. We're not running 16 back to 14 curls and comebacks against that shit. It took us 3 whole quarters to expose Wink Martindale's blitz and go up top to Terry. It took us 3 quarters. The first time Mahomes saw all-out pressure, MVS ended the game. Good night. God bless and good night. Don't tell me the offense is the same, because it ain't. Anyway, the EB effect is real. He got y'all all kinds of bazity. Y'all don't know if y'all coming or going on these players and what they're capable of anymore. Y'all done forgot what Terry's capable of. We had a whole conversation about, is Terry a number one after EB got here and got his hands on Terry? Are you kidding me? We would go games where Jahan, you wouldn't even know if he was healthy or not. What? Anyway, King of the Bluegrass, been a member for 24 months. Really appreciate you who writes, some people can't enjoy the promise of new beginnings because of a consistent lie and the happy ending. At some point, though, you have to go even tomorrow in order to cherish today. And you know what? There's a lot of truth in that. People don't want to invest in the new beginnings because they think that they already know how it's going to end. And my rebuttal to that is, but this is new. If we still had Daniel Snyder and we hired Adam Peters and we brought in Ben Johnson or Mike McDonald, I'd tell you, okay, I get it. I know why you feel that way. Those guys aren't here anymore. This is a different organization. We have a different ownership group. It is a different time. So give it a chance. That's all I'm advocating for. It's new. Give it a chance. Your favorite restaurant. It was the best spot to get gumbo. Best gumbo in the city, and really best gumbo for 3-4 states. People would come from miles and miles to eat this gumbo. And they had other things on the menu that were just as delicious, but the gumbo was the main attraction, right? New management takes over, changes the recipe, doesn't do some of the other things. The service goes to shit, and it's not what it used to be, right? Now it's strictly just off of name, but it's not the same quality. And you don't even go anymore. You don't frequent this place anymore because you know it's not what it once was. Finally, somebody else takes over. Somebody else buys the establishment, says, hey, I grew up. I remember what this place was when it was popping, when it was the place to be, when the food was actually good enough to make people drive a state over. I remember, and I'm going to restore that. I'm going to make sure the service is better. I'm going to make sure that the quality is better. I'm going to make sure that everything is of the highest quality to bring back and restore what was once the best restaurant in town. That's what it's like here in Washington. We were once the best organization in football. New management came in, effed it up, turned it to shit. Now we're under new management. Give the new management an opportunity to come in here and see if he can't revitalize this thing. Wilfredo Elias, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, as a fellow optimist, I've never related more. Hashtag HTTC. If there's ever been a time to be optimistic, now's the time. I can't. Why do you think I was so happy when we found out Dan was selling in April or May? Why do you think I was so happy when he finally sold in July 20th? 2023. Why do you think you were so happy? Because it felt like somebody took the shackles off our feet so we could dance. Right? For the first time, we were like, we got a shot. And it didn't happen last year. And I've said this many times. I'm guilty as charged. And this is and Derek B brought up a great point. Why the super friends, and I don't care that they don't believe that things are going to be different in Washington. But he said, you know why they don't believe you? Why you're hot air to them is because they look at you as crying wolf. Because you said you were going 12-5 2 years ago, and you said you were going 11-6 last year. So, or you said you were going 12-5 last year, and you said we were going 11-6 this year. And we went 8-1 last year, and we went 4-13 this year. So they ain't trying to hear shit you saying. Touche. I get it. I've got the reasons why I thought we would be successful. Nobody cares. We weren't successful. Those sound like excuses now. Okay. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just telling you that was under Snyder's reign. That is over with. It's a new day, and we're hiring competent people of the highest quality, and we're looking to change shit. That same restaurant, they were going to Walmart and getting great value ingredients and trying to pass it off as a 5-star meal. And some of y'all are like, hey, I could do some damage with some great value. You wouldn't know the difference. I beg to differ, but okay, that's fine. I'm uppity, okay? You call me what you want. My wife calls me bougie. I'm vegan, so my tastes are a little bit different, okay? However, when you get better ingredients, when you get higher quality ingredients, and you get better chefs, the product is better. That's what we're in the process of trying to do. For a long time, we had shitty ownership who attracted shitty talent, which got us shitty ingredients, and then the product ended up being shitty. Starts at the top. Well, we have a quality owner now who's attracting quality talent, who's going to get us quality ingredients and quality chefs, more specifically, quality chefs who are going to get us quality ingredients. Now we're hoping that the product in the meal tastes a whole hell of a lot better. We'll see. Right? The meal can't be any worse than it's been for the last 25 years. I can assure you of that. King of the Bluegrass, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, I choose optimism with reality-based thinking. Perfect. Perfecto, right? That's it. Optimism, but based in reality. Like, hey, I hope we can go 10-7 this year, but realistically speaking, we're probably going to go 7-10, 6-11. Dan Campbell went 3-13-1 in his first year. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. You want what they have? Kyle Shanahan went 2-14, I think, in his first year. If you want what they have, you got to go through what they went through. Shit's not all rose petals and buckets of candy and dancing in the rain. No. You better get an umbrella because it's raining bricks. Don't want to catch a brick. Better have an umbrella. Don't want to get rained on. Christopher McLaughlin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Chris, thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, hey, Lou. What's up, Chris? Hope all is well with you and the family. Likewise, as always. Says, congrats on 25K. I meant to bring that up. I'm glad you brought it up. I meant to bring that up. I was so caught up in my feelings that I forgot. That was the first thing I was supposed to lead off the show with. So I'm glad you brought it up so that I can tell everybody thank you. I was telling my wife today, the 25K means the most to me of all my accomplishments to this point, all my milestones. 1,000 was very impactful because it took me so long to get to 1,000. And if I was a quitter, if I didn't believe in me, I would have quit. It took me so long to get to 1,000. Most people don't have to go through what I had to go through to get to 1,000. The game has changed. When I started back in 2012, it wasn't like this. It was a ghost town. People weren't doing what it is I do. And it was harder to get people to buy in. And it's not what it is now. You could start a channel tomorrow and have 1,000 subs 3 months from now. It's a different game now. And so 1,000 isn't like 1,000 yards rushing or receiving isn't what it used to be in the NFL. Why? When 1,000 was a thing, that there were 14 games when 1,000 yards meant something. That was serious shit to have 1,000 yards rushing, 14 games. So, you think about O.J. Simpson rushing for 2,000 yards in a season. Bro, he had 14 games to do it. What? Different time, bro. 1,000 meant something when there was 14. Hell, 1,000 yards meant something even at 16. Even though me and my buddy, we sat down and we crunched the numbers. You had to average like 63 yards a game rushing in a 16-game season to get to 1,000. Like, that's nothing. Right? So it took the luster a little bit off. Getting to 5 felt good, but it wasn't that big of a deal to me. 10 was great. That was a milestone. 15, whatever. 20, awesome. Right? Felt really good. Felt, that was like vindication. Like, I made it. 25 is the biggest milestone that I've hit because it's a quarter of a way to 100. I may never see 100. At the rate I'm going, I won't see 100, right? But it's not going to stop me from trying, and it's not going to, it's not going to dampen my experience. If I never make it to 50, but I got a core 30,000 subscribers, I got a core of 35,000 that I can rock with, that rock with me and I rock with them, that's more valuable to me than having 100,000. But when I put out a video, I'm only getting 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 views. Like, I don't envy anybody's channel. I'll just say this. I don't envy anybody's channel that has more subscribers than me. I envy the channels that have more subscribers than me and they actually watch their videos. Let understand that. And I'm going to leave it at that. Y'all rock with me, and I can't be more appreciative of y'all because we've built this into a tight-knit community. And win, lose, or draw, and there's been a lot more losing than anything else. Y'all always still come check for the kid. And I can't tell y'all how much that means to me. So 25K was a milestone for me. And it was a hell of a journey to get here. But hey, we moving now, and the numbers are going up, and the success is coming more and more, and I couldn't be more excited about the future. And took me over a decade to get to 25. Hopefully it won't take me another decade to get to the next 25. The next time I'll get all sentimental on you guys, and it'll be 50. It'll be 50. It won't be 30 or 35 or 40, none of that shit. It'll be 50. That'll be the next big milestone. So thank you for bringing it up. I appreciate each and every single one of you who have subscribed and made the Louie T Network what it is turned into. And every single one of you who has helped me get to that 25,000 subscriber count. That said, he says, I understand the passion and people's desire for this team to win. Life is precious and each moment is a gift. I think the biggest fix will be on D. Your thoughts? I look, nobody wants to lose. Nobody, I'm not sitting here telling you that I'm expecting, or not rather, I'm not telling you that I want to be 6-11 next year. I'm like Bluegrass said, I'm rooted in reality. Essentially, I understand how this works. If we got a first-time head coach, the youngest in the NFL, if he's hired, Ben Johnson is hired, he'll be the youngest coach in the NFL. You got a first-time GM, and more likely than not, you'll have a rookie quarterback. You think you're going to show up with all of these dudes who are doing it for the first time by themselves, right? Peter's first-time GM, he's been an assistant for many years, and he knows what the hell he's doing. But this is the first time he's been totally in charge. Ben Johnson knows how to call football, knows X's and O's, but this is the first time he's been in control of the entire team. He's had a side of the ball. He's put together meetings. And I'm telling you, man, when I tell you this dude is impressive, this dude is impressive, man. You listen to the players for the Lions. You listen to some of the things that he says. He being Ben Johnson, the meetings and how he goes about offense. That's the shit. Like, I can't stress to y'all just how impressive he is. He reminds me so much of Sean McVay. So much of Sean McVay. With how he goes about his business in terms of how he sees the game. If we get this dude and he is what I think he is, bro, we're not going back. We're not going back. If Adam Peters is what I think he is, what you think he can be, and Ben Johnson is too, and they get the right coaches in here, and more importantly, they get the right players in here, bro, we're not going back. Like Nas, I'm not going back. We not going back, bro. It's a lot of ifs. It's a lot of ifs. I just dropped a number of ifs on you. And if Boss were here, he would laugh at me and he would say, if is the biggest two-letter word in the dictionary. He said, what if my head was turned backwards and I could see forwards? I know. I'm just telling you. Anyway, the biggest fix will have to be on the defensive. Bro, we were the worst defense in football. Chris, yes, I get it. The offense, once again, was abysmal. The offense, again, was not good enough week after week after week. But there were games to be won this season, and our defense simply was not up to the task. And that was before trading Montez and Chase. Okay, this defense was horrendous. The biggest changes definitely have to be on defense. I honestly believe that you're a lot closer to being a quality defense than you are a quality offense right now. And the reason I say that is because while we don't think we have elite talent, I think we have enough to be a formidable defense. If they, all you need are a few pieces. The stuff that we already have in-house, if they find a scheme that suits their skill set, we can get by with the stuff that we have and be the 19th or the 20th ranked defense in the league. If we were just 19th this year, we win 7 or 8 ball games. Because 19th in the league, instead of being dead last in points per game given up, and yards, and we probably like 30th, 31st in yards given up per game, all of that good stuff. If we were 19th in the league in points per game given up instead of 32nd, and we were 32nd, we were dead last by a nice sizable margin. Okay. Nobody else in the league gave up over 500 points in this season. We were the only team where the amount of points given up starts with a 5. That was us. Worst points per game in Washington history. This unit this year. Most points given up. Now, granted, take it with a grain of salt. There were 17 games this season. But we had eclipsed the most points given up in franchise history after 14 games. Okay? We had already done that after like 14 or 15 games. So I couldn't even use that as an excuse. We were awful. And in saying that, I think that if you make 3 really good decisions this offseason, and the first of which being finding the right guy to head up the defense, whether that's McDonald himself coming in here as the head coach or the defensive coordinator, that's where it starts, clearly. You go get us give us one edge rusher, one difference-making edge rusher, and the other dude could be a James Smith-Williams type. Because I don't know if you're going to find 2 studs in one offseason. But just give me one dude that we can trust off the edge, right? You can get by with Jamin Davis. We need another backer, though. We really need 2 more, but just give me one. One. And then I think Quan Martin, and if Cam Curl's back, even if he's not back, Quan Martin and Defoe and those guys, I think they'll be fine at safety. You need a nickel, though. Because even if you don't do anything like significant at corner, which we need to, but even if you don't, and you get a nickel and you just leave Juice and Forbes outside, and you play a scheme that fits their skill set, which is zone, like no man with these dudes. Keep everything in front of you. I think you can get away with some shit, and I think we can be serviceable defensively. If you got the right scheme, obviously. But I won't say that, because I think the most work that has to be done is on the offensive line until we figure out if some of the dudes that are on the roster that can play. Right now, it's just Sam Cosmi. I think Ricky Stromberg can play center. I don't know that. I have no empirical proof. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Ricky Stromberg can play center. After that, what do we have? Like, you really have to build that offensive line up. And whether you spend resources, which I think they're ultimately going to do in free agency, they're going to bring in a guard in free agency. And I think they're going to draft a tackle, and then they might draft one more offensive lineman. I don't think you're going to see this crazy overhaul, but I think you will see 4 new starters next year on the offensive line. Or 3, because I still think Leno might be here. I don't know if they're going to cut Leno. If they draft a tackle, a left tackle, and they already got a right tackle, like they already spent like a free agent dollars on a right tackle or whatever, Leno will get cut then. They won't cut Leno before the draft. He can only be cut after the draft, after you've already obtain the guy and you see what he is, and then you can, like, that's what we did to Morgan Moses, remember? We didn't cut Morgan Moses until we drafted Sam Cosmi. And then they had to make sure Sam Cosmi could play. And as soon as he came in for that first OTA, they was like, okay, we got us one. And they cut Morgan Moses the next day. So I assume that's what'll happen if they get a guy. But if that dude is playing right tackle and you still don't have a left tackle, then Charles Leno has to play, right? So just understand that so much work has to be done on offense, because as much as I love Amani Rodgers, the man just started playing a tight end position. Like, I'm not counting on Amani Rodgers to be the difference maker at tight end. We need a tight end. We need to rebuild the offensive line. You have to draft a quarterback. It's more work to be done on that side of the ball than it is to me on defense. We need to see the biggest leap taken by the defense, though. We can't even be competitive with the defense we have. If that shit shows up that we did last year, you can't even be competitive with that. I don't care how good Ben Johnson is. If you're giving up 35 or 40 plus every other week, you got no chance. Now, again, if your offense, because what I've seen from Ben Johnson is that his offense is a lot like Sean McVay's, in the sense that it ain't a bunch of 72-yard plays, 62-yard. Like, this ain't the Dolphins' explosive offense that quick strike you in 2 plays, 72 yards, 68-yard touchdown. Like, that ain't what they doing. His shit is methodical. They get chunks, though. You know, it's 18, then it's 2, it's 1, 7, go for it on 4th and, 2, 1, 7, move the sticks. Then play action fake, boom, got you for 21, right? And back to the ground, 1, 7, 3rd and 3, play action boot, guy leaks into the flats, gain a 7, right? That's the shit that they do. You're not, like, rarely are they going over the top and hitting you for a 47-yarder or, a 59-yard bomb. But they're consistent with those chunks. So the way I see it, you do that kind of offense, your defense doesn't have to be on the field as much. But we'll see what happens. Appreciate you, Chris. Art by Rapid, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Lou, I'm optimistic. Peters is a smart mofo. I had to school this Cowgirl fan on how we on the rise. Just like LB, they're scared. If we get Ben Johnson, that's going to garner some respect. Because what you got to understand is, see, this is the thing. This is why I got to stop arguing with the super friends on certain stuff, because they don't actually watch other teams for real. Like, they're so consumed. Like, remember, of the panel, I'm the only one that covers the entire NFL. Bad Dog is a Giants fan. All he covers is Giants content, in terms of the NFL. LB is an Eagles fan. All he covers are the Eagles. That's it. Law is a Cowboys fan. All he covers is the Cowboys. They don't look at other teams. Now they may have a working knowledge of what other teams do, but they're not actually watching what these other teams are doing. So when the playoffs roll around, that's when they get their real exposure. Or when a primetime game happens and they watch, that's when they get, but everybody watches the playoffs. If you're a football fan, you watch the playoffs. That's when you get your real exposure. And I think people are really starting to see, man, this dude, Ben Johnson, is the truth. Right? And I think everybody in the division was watching intently because they need something. Everybody in the division needs something. Dallas may have to find a defensive coordinator. The Eagles were looking for both an offensive and defensive coordinator. They already had their defensive coordinator, but they were looking for an offensive one. They got one now, right? The Giants are looking for a defensive coordinator. So everybody was looking for something. So everybody, their eyes, their antennas were up. Take it from me. Your man, Louie T. Save your breath. Don't argue with none of the fan bases in the division. Because until we win, they ain't trying to hear nothing we saying. And I don't blame them. If I were them and they were us, I'd be doing them the same way. And don't even talk to me, bro. Don't even talk to me, right? I get it. I'm not mad and upset about that. We earned that. Only way we're going to change that is by winning. King of the North, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, let me be clear, Lou. You take the parts and be happy you got them. Just know our offense won't look like Detroit's for a while. And that's all. And you never clarified that, right? You made it sound as if, are you sure you want to take these parts? We can't really use them anyway. And I don't argue with anything you said other than you left out. No. Give me those parts. Even if I got to put them on the shelf and I can't use them right now, give me those parts. I'll keep them in a safe place, stored away for when I do finally have a chance to utilize them. They'll be there and I'll use them. And that's all I'm saying is I don't expect our offense to look like Detroit's. But I don't expect our offense to look like minced meat either. We got stuff. The biggest thing we don't have is the running back and the offensive line and the tight end. Those are the three things right now. And our offensive line ain't going to look like theirs overnight. You got to build that thing into a monster and a bully, right? But it can be serviceable. Our offensive line, I've said this enough times. Yeah, I don't need to hear me say this anymore. The tight end is going to be huge because he utilizes the tight end. And he was a tight end. Ben Johnson, again, assuming he's the coach, he was a tight ends coach for a number of years in the NFL. He's been a tight ends coach multiple times over. So he values the tight end, and we saw that in Sam Laporta. So we need to do, we're going, if I'm reading the room correctly, Ben Johnson values the tight end very, very highly. And thus, I expect us to spend early draft capital on a tight end. Probably the second round is my guess. You got 2 third-rounders as well. If he loves the crop of tight ends and isn't desperate for one that early, but says, hey, we can still get a quality one in the 3rd round, I trust his judgment. He knows what he's looking for and what kind of guy fits his system. But I expect a tight end to be taken in the first 5 picks. But again, I look at their receivers and I'm like, we got Terry and Jahan. And I don't know what's going to happen with Curtis. But just those 2 alone. And then if they add somebody to the mix, what? Come on, man. We like our offense, we got stuff. It ain't going to look like Detroit's because, again, we can't protect. And then you got to have the quarterback. Like, that's the most significant part of all of this, to tie it together. And are we going to find that guy? Don't know. We'll see. But I don't expect it to look like Detroit's right away. Some people do if we get them. I don't. I know that the opportunity for it to look like Detroit's does exist, however, in the future. And if it looks like that immediately, more power to them. The faster, the better. LT, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Moore and Hurts slept on. Chargers ran the ball in 2023. I don't know about that. Did you watch the Chargers? I know the answer already, LT. You didn't watch the Chargers. I watched the Chargers. Did they run the ball more than they have been running the ball? Sure, they did. Were they effective? No, they weren't. So you can run the ball, right? You can run the ball, but if it ain't effective, I won't say what good is it, because staying balanced, even though you don't run, that's what Tampa Bay did, right? But I'm curious. Let's just go, because I told you I want all the smoke right now. That's just, I told y'all that I'm not here for the bullshit. So let's just see let's see what's going on here. So week 1, the Chargers had a great game rushing the football. I remember this because the Chargers fans were excited. Austin Eckler went off. Joshua Kelly went off. They had 40 carries, 233 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Average damn near 6 yards a pop in week 1 in a loss to the Dolphins, 36-34. I will go out on a limb right now and guarantee you that was their best rushing effort of the season, and they won't even come remotely close to that again. Wait, was the game against the Browns this year or last year? If the Browns game is this year, then they had another crazy game. I think that Browns game was last year, though. So I don't think that's in this season, but we'll see. Let's move on to the next game. Titans. They lost 27-24 in overtime. 21 carries, 61 yards, 2.9 yards a pop. So I wouldn't say that was successful. We'll keep going. I think a lot of the games are going to look like that. Beat the Vikings 28-24. 15 carries, 30 yards. Justin Herbert threw it 47 times. So they're running the ball, right? 3-to-1 pass to run ratio. But they're running the ball, though, right? 15 carries, 30 yards. That was one game, though. We're not going to blow that out of proportion. We're going to keep going. Because I'm pretty sure there's some more games in there where they ran it, right? Here's one of them, right? Herbert, fractured his finger. They had to run the football. 37 carries, 155 yards, 4.2 yards a carry. They beat the Raiders 24-17. Let's keep going. Cowboys game. Pretty sure they didn't run it in this game here. But let's take a look and see. Could be wrong. 23 carries, 53 yards. So Herbert was getting over the fractured finger. He threw it 37 times. They ran it 23 times for 53 yards, 2.3 yards a carry. So not very successful and not very many runs. They played the Chiefs. Lost 31-17. Ran it 26 times for 139. That's good. 5.3 yards a carry. Herbert threw it 30 times, so that's pretty balanced. They lost, but those are good numbers, right? Joshua Kelly had a 49-yard run in there, so that really bolstered the average, but I don't care about that. The fact is they ran it and they had success. Okay? Let's go to the Chargers and Bears. This looks like a game where they could have run it. They won 30-13. See how successful they did. Herbert throws it 40 times. They rush it 25 times for 54 yards, 2.2 yards to carry. Not going to get it done. So that wasn't a good game. Chargers and Jets. I remember they ran it in this game. Now, was it successful? I don't know. But this was an ugly one on a Sunday night, or was a Monday night, I'd rather. Herbert threw it 30 times. They ran it 21 times for 84 yards, 4 yards a pop. Wasn't the cleanest, but it was effective. That'll get the job done. Lions, Chargers, they lost this game 41-38. Don't think there was a lot of running in this game. For the Lions, there was. 28 carries, 98 yards. That's not bad. 3.5 a carry. Herbert threw it 40 times. They ran it 28 times. That's not bad. That's not bad. Chargers, Packers, they lost this game 23-20. 24 carries, 150 yards. Now, I must add this in. 8 carries for 73 yards came from Justin Herbert. So that wasn't technically them running the ball. It was Herbert tucking and running. Now, were those called runs? Maybe. I highly doubt that. That's not what Kellen Moore does. I'm thinking Herbert tucked the bitch and ran and had some space, and he killed him with his legs. Nonetheless, 24 carries, 150. You take away Herbert's runs, though. It's 16 for 77. I mean, it's a good average, but that's not what you're really looking for. But again, I'm not gonna count that. I'm just gonna say 24 for 150. Right? Ravens Chargers 20-10. Ravens win. This was a Sunday night game. 19 carries, 86 yards, so 4.5. That's a good average. Again, Herbert, leading rusher, 4 carries, 47 yards. So again, take it with a grain of salt. Herbert ran it 44 times. Herbert threw it 44 times. They ran it 19 times. And 4 of those runs, again, for 47 yards, Justin Herbert. So again, not really that good of a rushing performance. This has to be 6-0. This was in the rain against New England. So this got to be a heavy run game here. Got to be. Except it's not. 24 carries for 29 yards. 1.2 yards a carry. Herbert threw it 37 times. They won the game 6-0. So Broncos Chargers. Broncos win 24-7. I think Herbert's now out for the season at this point. Or this might have been his last game. This was the game he got hurt in. 19 carries, 76 yards. They threw it 42 times in this game. So 42 passes, 19 rushes in this game for the Chargers. Then they lost to the Raiders 63-21. 28 carries, 92 yards. And so the rest of this season is without Justin Herbert. So I don't really want to count the rest of those games. So they ran it more than they had been running it, right? They ran it more, but they never really established an identity. A lot of these runs were gun runs, right? They weren't under center. Trust me, you're getting an offensive coordinator that is a lot like the one you just had. May not be as bad in terms of run pass ratio, but trust me, your offense is going to look a lot like it did in Dallas, because he's getting a similar quarterback to the one that he had in Dallas, in Dak Prescott, in Jalen Hurts. So I expect you to be more on the pass side, and I don't expect him to feature your running backs. There'll be games where they get carries and things, but it's not going to be consistent. And if it's working, he's not the kind of guy that sticks with it necessarily. So we'll see. And look, whatever you got to tell yourself, LT, to sleep better at night, do it. I'm all for it. Christopher McLaughlin, my guy Chris, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Hey, Lou, 2 questions. 1, what game outside of the division are you looking forward to this season and why? For me, it's Baltimore. And 2, Baltimore and at Cincinnati. And 2, what is reasonable time frame for a team winning consistent division titles? I've already said that by year 3, I'm expecting this team to be ready to compete. That's the year where, if you're looking at consistent turnarounds, if you're looking at what these rebuilds and these turnarounds look like, and when they start to pay off dividends, it's year 3. So that's when I'm looking to compete at a high level. Now, we don't know what the rest of the division is going to do. None of us saw 2020 coming, right? So you never know, but to be ready to be consistent winners, 3 years. As far as the games that I'm looking forward to, I don't even know, because I haven't even thought about the schedule for next year yet. I don't even know. Clearly, you said Baltimore and Cincinnati, so that means we play the AFC North. I don't even know what divisions we play. I ain't even gonna lie to you. But clearly, we play the AFC North. I ain't looking forward to playing none of them, to be honest with you, because all of them better than us right now. So once we get closer to the release of the schedule and I start paying attention to that stuff, I'll then be able to tell you what I'm looking forward to. Right now, I have no clue. I ain't even going to hold you. It's DC. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. DC writes, Eagles game in week 8 was the only instance of quick screens to start a game, especially after the Giants game. Then we never did it again. Exactly. I remember that because I remember saying, where the hell was that last week? Now you want to do the shit, right? Now you want to do it well after it's necessary. Like the Eagles aren't even aggressive like that. But I will say, wasn't that one of our more successful games to start, right? We came out guns a-blazing. We were up 14-3 and moving the ball and had a 4th and 1 that we went for and ran a stupid ass play and didn't get it. That's not who he's been, and that's not who he is. And you would think after the success of that Eagles game with the quick game, which was in full effect against Philadelphia both times, again in week 8, you would think he would go back to that, and he just didn't. You know, he just didn't. So, King of the Bluegrass, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. King of the Bluegrass writes, Lou, check your subs. You may be under 20K now. Hashtag rant. I might be back at 24,997 or some shit. And that's okay. I got the picture to prove that I was once at 25. So I ain't even tripping. I ain't even tripping. Oh man. You stupid, man. Andrew, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the support. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you, Andrew. So that is going to do it for me, your man Louie T. I thank you guys for joining me. I look forward to chopping it up with you. We will be live on Thursday night, unless something happens before then. As news comes out, though, you know I'm gonna be here. But I'll have a podcast tomorrow. And then tomorrow is the big day. They're meeting with Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, the two coordinators for the Detroit Lions. And that should be the last of the meetings, but we'll see. I know they were supposed to be meeting with 5 candidates early this week. Quinn was supposed to be rescheduled for early in the week. The 2 Baltimore assistants, and McDonald as a coordinator and Weaver as a defensive line and assistant associate head coach. And then the 2 Lions assistants or coordinators rather are tomorrow. So I would assume they'll be wrapping everything up tomorrow and we'll know something by Wednesday. That's my guess. That's my guess. I expect them to move expeditiously, just like they did in the GM search. And if they've already zeroed in on a candidate, which I think they have, then this is a formality. Like, we just got to make sure that none of these other candidates absolutely blow us away. And we're like, wait a minute. Did you hear what this guy said and his plan and the vision he has? Like, we sure we want to pass this guy up? Like, unless somebody absolutely knocks their socks off. Benny J, come on down. Your chariot awaits. Anyway, y'all get out of here. I'm done ranting and and I'm over that shit. I just needed to get that off my chest. Let's go get our coach, man. I'm ready. I'm ready for this process to be over. I'm ready to start anew. Let's get this shit started. What says you? Y'all have a good one. Y'all know what it is. Post up. Take command. I'll see you guys next time. God bless. Good night.